Hello, everybody. It's Hank. I'm here with your TikTok drafts for the year 2022. It's now 2023 here. My 2022 drafts. Thanks for supporting the project. Are awesome. I just went through and edited them. It's a bunch of nonsense. I almost split it up because it's over 40 minutes, and I almost thought like one that was just goofs and one that was TikToks I didn't post that were actually like TikToks, like me like talking about stuff. But I mixed them in. I figured you will know, and if you want to skip through the ones that aren't goofy, then you can do that. That they're all in one, and I hope that you like it. It was a good little retrospective of the last year of my life, and all the memes that we memed along the way. I'm hanging out. There's Austin, Texas out there right now. South by Southwest EDU. It's been a good time. There's people at the pool down there having fun. Hey, pool people.
The thing I'm most intolerably snobby about is parallel parking. I've watched a bunch of people like look at this spot and not take it. You could fit any car in America in this spot. It's huge.
Oh, I gotta fart real bad and I gotta shit real bad, and I'm afraid if I fart, I'm gonna shit. There are only two outcomes in this situation, and they both include the fire department. Oh.
Do it to the inside of my brain, and then I could forget that TikTok trend where people went pa do da 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 choo ba ba. I don't have that in there anymore. And also, like all the television jingles from the 90s, they could be gone too. Just okay. Great. How's your VidCon going?
Her oldest is Kyle. There's definitely a Kyle.
You're not gonna say any words?
Yeah, we just,
You know what's going on, don't you?
like 5, and we just
It's very cute.
1, 2, 3.
How's your VidCon going?
4. Having the time of my life.
I'm about to leave my house to go to shoot SciShow. I needed to change into this hoodie because we're doing a pickup for a previous episode when I was wearing it. So I needed to change hoodies. And I just took off my pants. Because I was watching a TikTok and I was like, I have to take off something. It must be my pants, right?
Maybe it's just me. Maybe I'm just extremely judgmental, but yeah, no, never mind. That's it. That's what it is.
So you know the song Alfie by Lily Allen? If you don't, you should. It's a banger. But it's always seemed a little bit mean to me because it's like Lily Allen's like a music pop star. And so like, why rag on your little brother who's a loser? He's a freaking movie star. What the fuck?
Communicate using microwaves. And they found out some guy's chocolate bar melted.
My grandfather was in the Korean War, and he once told me a story about how they would stand in front of the microwave communication dishes to warm up during the winter. They microwaved themselves. Your Dalek can be LGBTQ. Ha ha ha, my horse broke my toe. Oh damn. Well, someone's going out of my house. It's my son. Hello?
Do you wear wigs?
No, I do not.
Have you worn wigs?
No, I have not.
You are a beautiful man. A beautiful man. Will you wear wigs?
Maybe.
When will you wear wigs?
A hip, a hop, a hip, a dip my dick in the salsa dip on a Taco Tuesday. Get a spat on your boobly. Yes. Feel free to say no. Bald, mean, and full of beans. I got a Yamaha keyboard drum machine. Metallic a patch on my dungarees. I said, girl, can I get your number, please?
Hang myself in the neighbor's garden. When he comes back, that's a nice surprise. Let the darkness just take your soul. Listen up, child, close your eyes. Just pull it out, don't cut me hair. Take my face, stub a cig right there. I'm a dirty, wretched man. Call me granddad, cause I fucked you.
We even got a secret handshake, and she loves the music that my band makes. I know I'm upon this throne, I'm ready for their stones. I'll dance, dance, dance with my hands, hands above my head, like Jesus said, I'm gonna dance, dance, dance with my hands.
It just occurred to me that the Tesla Cybertruck is like the Seabat of trucks. It just feels right. There's a lot riding on this one, you guys. All right, I mean, I'm gonna be happy. No, except for that.
How is sugar made?
How is sugar made?
Well, which of the three things do you think it is? Is it made by, what are the three things? Three categories of things?
Things made by the universe.
Things made by the universe, like Earth and
the sun.
Yeah. What about things? Let's see the second category.
Life.
Things made by life. And the third category?
Things made by humans.
Things made by humans. So which one of those three is sugar?
There's actually two.
You think it's two? Which two?
People and life.
People and life? How would that work?
So, like, people take it out of things
People take it.
that have sugar in them.
Like, what do you think? What do you think we take sugar out of to make sugar?
Like apples.
Apples. That's a great idea.
Fruit.
Fruit. Exactly. But there are other things that actually have even more sugar in them than apples and fruit. You just don't know about them. Sugar cane and sugar beets.
Sugar cane.
Sugar cane, yeah. Which grows down south, and sugar beets, which grows up north, where it's colder. Do you want to see pictures of sugar cane and sugar beets?
Yeah.
Okay.
You're a tough cookie. And that's the last thing I'll say. Okay, you want the truth? I'll tell you everything.
There be bones in my skin.
Do you wear wigs?
No, I do not.
Have you worn wigs?
No, I have not.
You are a beautiful man. A beautiful man. Will you wear wigs?
Maybe.
When will you wear wigs?
It's the T noise. So mitosis has a T noise, and meiosis is just like meiosis.
Then I got some athletic shorts.
Here's Big Fart. That was a short and gassy one. Do you want to hear another one?
I don't even know how to continue this after that. What the fuck?
Now, one thing we know absolutely for certain is that you cannot use quantum entanglement to communicate faster than light. That would be nice, but you can't. It's done a lot in science fiction. Ansibles, if you've heard of Ansibles, that's the idea of an Ansible, but that's not what's happening, and we know that's not what's happening, and I, again, will try and explain it to you, again, imperfectly. So you have these two entangled particles, two electrons that are entangled with each other. You send one place, another goes off another, and they're very far apart, and now you measure one of them, and it has spin in one direction, the other one will have the opposite spin whenever it is detected. And that information seems to be traveling from one to the other faster than light. Now, we know nothing can go faster than light, so probably something else is going on here. There are arguments about what is going on here, and what we think is going on is that the universe doesn't have locality. Do I know what that means? No. Someone does, though. I'm going to say the following words, and physicists will probably yell at me. But maybe electrons aren't in a place. The idea being that the electron does not have, each of these electrons has an equal chance of having spin up or spin down until you measure one of them, and then the other one has a 100% chance of having the opposite spin immediately and forever, no matter when it is detected. But it doesn't have a spin until it is detected, but it will be the opposite of its entangled partner. What seems to be going on, and this is why they don't won the Nobel Prize for studying this, is that they don't exist in places. They are non-local, and the local universe isn't real. Now, does that mean anything for you? No. Now, doesn't mean anything for quantum computing and cryptography and future uses of this bizarre reality. Yeah, it probably could. It could be useful in some way, but it will not be useful in the way where you can actually transmit information, because you cannot affect whether it's up or down. If you could say to the entangled particle, you get suddenly up, and the other one goes suddenly down, then you could use that for communication. But that's not what happens. It is measured as whatever it is, and then the other one is the opposite. we cannot determine what it will be measured as, ever. That's not a possible thing to do. So if we measure an entangled particle a million light years apart, and one of them is spin up, we know that the other one's spin down, but we can't do anything with that information. Sometimes I just wish there was a way to drink water faster. Luckily, I found this.
Hanklerfish.
That's right. What do you think?
Hanklerfish.
That's all you can say?
Hanklerfish.
You have any questions about them?
All of them are like that, but some of them are 2 colors. That one's 3 colors.
Mm-hmm.
And why do some of them have polka dots on them?
I don't know. It's just how it was. We're here. So I don't care about this for my sake because I don't think about making money anymore. Like I'm in that tremendously privileged position to not have to care much about that. But I do care about it for other creators, and because I like this job, but it is only a good job if it's a job, if it like pays some bills. And it is a job after a while. Like it is hard, and I think that if you work harder on it, it's better. I think that the communities who enjoy it are better served if the creators making the content treat it more like work. And I especially think those creators are better served if they treat it like work, because otherwise you're in a situation where you're just grinding yourself down to a nub until you give up, which I see a lot happening on TikTok. I see it happen all the time. TikTok has a amount of money that it distributes between all creators based on the amount of engagement you have on your videos. It is a small percentage of their yearly revenue. And as a percentage that's going down as TikTok makes more money because the amount of money in the creator fund isn't going up. TikTok doesn't think that it needs to pay creators because there's still lots of good content on the platform. Like it's not like there isn't good stuff here. So they aren't being incentivized to pay creators more by creators wanting to create elsewhere. So what I will say is if you see creators start to move primarily to a platform that pays them better, that recognizes the value of their work, that says you get a percentage of what we make, not some flat amount that's defined and stays static, don't get mad at them. Get mad at TikTok. That's not the creator's fault. That's TikTok's fault. And I really, I don't want people to have loyalty to this platform unless they are like even doing, a comparable amount of valuing their creators as a competitor. So why have loyalty to them? So I know that you're just joking around and not trying to make a big deal out of this, but I do want us to all sort of walk into it with our eyes open that creators are not well supported on TikTok, and that does result in them burning out and not being able to continue doing the thing that they love doing, and that we should be excited about a competitor attempting to actually share revenue with creators. And that's big. And I'll talk more about exactly how it works because it's not perfect or anything, but it's certainly a heck of a lot better than what goes on here. I'm not trying to give you a hard time, but I think this is fascinating, so I want to talk about it. It's easy for us now to say that there is no ether, but let's walk through this. Waves travel through things. Like sound waves that you're hearing right now are traveling through the medium of air. It's molecules knocking into each other. Like waves in a lake would travel through the medium of the water of the lake. It's a very weird thought that a wave would travel through nothing. Which is why no one thought that waves traveled through nothing. They thought that there must be a thing that the waves traveled through. It was just difficult to detect, and there are lots of things that are difficult to detect, and this was at 120, 130 years ago that pretty much everybody thought that there was this stuff that light traveled through as a wave. And it was actually very complicated and weird and ingenious to be able to create an experiment that proved that thing didn't exist. I've heard a bunch of times that cruise ships release more CO2 than the entire continent of Europe combined. And this is a misunderstanding of a headline that was, I agree, confusing. Carnival cruise ship fleet pollutes almost 10 times more than all cars in Europe. This is because cruise ships, and also all of the other big ships, of which there are the vast majority of ships, are cargo ships, not cruise ships, all of them burn, like they have a very different pollution profile than cars. This is because they burn a super cheap fuel. They burn like the worst oil that you can get. And so it produces more, particularly of something called sulfur dioxide. I'm not saying this isn't important. I'm just saying it's different from carbon dioxide emissions, of which cruise ships are responsible for globally about 0.2%, which is huge. Don't get me wrong. Europe altogether is responsible for I think 7 or 8% of all global carbon emissions. So more than cruise ships.
And she doesn't give a damn about me, 'cause I'm just a teenage dirtbag.
Concert people, tell me the first artist you saw, the most recent artist you saw, the most expensive artist you've seen, the cheapest artist you've seen, the artist you've seen the most times, and your favorite artist. Just close your eyes.
Oh my gosh, so many things. Helium is so freaking useful. So it's got 3 super useful properties. It's very small, which means it's very light. It doesn't stick to itself, and it doesn't react with other chemicals. Not sticking to itself means that you can get it extremely cold without it turning into a solid, and that means you can use it to cool things down, and that's why it's used in MRI machines, because the magnets inside of them have to be very cold in order to do their MRI thing. So they're very important in that. That's a big piece of the pie, though it's just one piece of the pie. The fact that it's non-reactive means it's often used as a welding gas. So when you're welding, you want it to be surrounded by non-reactive gases so it doesn't react with the oxygen, because it can be very high temperature. So it's often used in that application. Also, because it's so tiny, it's used to find gaps and cracks in equipment. So if you have something that's supposed to be sealed perfectly tightly, you run a bunch of helium through it, even if there's the tiniest gap, that'll go through it and you'll be able to detect it and know that there's a crack in the thing. So here's a true story for you. I was in college in 2001, which is a year that you know for at least one reason. And I had a friend who was a pretty hardcore anti-capitalist type. And we were buds, and he had this shirt that said on it, "What goes up must come down." And there was a picture on his shirt of the World Trade Center. So that shirt got thrown away that year, because what that shirt meant to him before September 11th and everybody else who saw it was, I'm not a fan of capitalism, and systems that rise are eventually surmounted by other, maybe better systems. What it said after September 11th was, I'm a big fan of terrorists. Sometimes the vibes change, and that's okay. It's okay to let the vibes change and go with that.
I'm girl, the leaf who knows your heart.
I probably won't go out tonight just because I legitimately haven't slept. And
You're
I'm
not?
shit-faced right now.
Why don't we just see how
Okay, guys, I could be convinced to go out.
So you'd probably be unsurprised to hear that I was bullied in middle school. I mostly got through it unscathed, but we've all got our issues that we continue to work through for our whole lives. But one thing that makes me sensitive to is people who are just, there's a kind of humor that makes me very sensitive to, and I have a hard time laughing at. I've been trying to think about this brand of humor that kind of gives me a fight or flight response, to try and figure out what it is about it that I don't find funny. And I have a really hard time doing it because I'm not in touch with it. My wife said something very smart about it, and I want to tell you that thing because you will see it all over the place, and it will, I think, probably change the way that you think about things that you may find funny or you may not. I was talking to her about it, and she said, "Oh, it's the kind of humor where it's funny because you're not laughing. So, like, I think it's funny that you don't think it's funny. And that is... it's kind of awful. There's a joke like this going around on TikTok right now. If you would like to see an example, that is the like cue is, what would you increase by 5%? And a lot of guys are saying, it's like a sort of like young white guys is what I saw doing this, saying like baby formula or rent for single mothers. And the joke is that like it's awful. The joke is that it's awful. But why is it being awful funny? To some extent, it's just that it's surprising. It's like, oh, that's not what you would expect, and so that's what a joke is. It's one of those sort of leading theories of what jokes are is benign transgression. So it's like where a line is crossed, but no one actually gets harmed. But in this situation, if you can't afford baby formula right now, or if you're in a house with a single mother and you're playing with like the line between being housed and unhoused, it's not funny, right? Like that is not a benign transgression. That's just a transgression. The humor of a joke like this relies on the audience being in a place of safety with regard to that particular thing, whether that's like class safety or race safety or gender safety. I think that this is mostly okay when the joke is meant for a small group that is safe in that way. And so it is a benign transgression. But if the joke travels outside of that group and you start to laugh because people who aren't like you, who are less safe than you, are mad that you did an actual transgression, that's when you've become a shithead. Most important thing nobody ever teaches in school? Probably not. But interesting anyway, there are two kinds of numbers. There's like the number of pillows I have on my bed. There's 2. That's 2.000 forever. There's 2 pillows on my bed. But you might put my pillow on a scale and weigh that pillow and find that pillow weighs 2 pounds. But that is a lie. No matter how precise you get with how energetic something is, how fast something goes, how much something weighs, how bright something is, you can always get more precision. You can always get another digit past the 0. You can never know exactly how much my pillow weighs. That's impossible. You can know how many pillows there are, but you will never know exactly how much a pillow weighs.
Circles don't exist. I'm gonna prove it to you.
I love this a lot because this guy doesn't seem like he would be right. But he's exactly right. There are no circles in the whole universe.
I've always wanted to know what kind of bread I am, so...
It's about damn time. In a minute, I'ma need a sentimental man or woman to pump me up. Feeling fussy, walking in my Balenciaga C's, trying to bring out the fabulous. I give a fuck way too much. I'ma need like 2 shots in my cup. Wanna get up, yeah. Wanna get down, yeah. That's how I feel right now.
I like Instagram Reels, all right, I guess, but I don't really trust any platform where I can make a video about Harry Styles' nipples and it only gets 500,000 views. That just doesn't track.
Oh gosh, I didn't say it was gonna be okay. Did it sound like I said it was gonna be okay?
Money don't jiggle jiggle, it folds. I like to see you wiggle wiggle, for sure. It makes me wanna dribble dribble. You know, riding in my Fiat, you really have to see it.
You know it's not the same as it was, as it was, as it was. You know it's not the same.
Obviously, this question has changed a lot over the years. In the beginning, I decided a business was a good idea if it could make more money than it cost. Maybe, if it could, if it was possible. Oftentimes they could not. I spent a lot of money trying to start businesses that I will not ever talk about because they're embarrassing. Like, more embarrassing than you think. But the really important thing to recognize about the quality of ideas is that there's no good idea that you can't pull off. What do I mean by that? Not that anybody can pull off any good idea. Definitely not that. But an idea isn't good if you can't pull it off, unless you give it to somebody else and they can pull it off. Now, there are lots of things that influence whether or not you can pull off an idea. Like the skills you have, the connections you have, the resources you have, the knowledge you have. Ideas get much easier as you have more resources. And I have so many ideas I can't do them anymore because I have things that nobody else has access to. I have money and I have connections, but I also have an audience of people who trust me. And like that's by far the most valuable thing that I have. And very few people have it. It's very hard to get. And it's by far the most valuable thing that I have. And like to the point where I worry about it all the time, about protecting that and about not letting those people down. It's something else, man. And I want to do the right things with it. So it's a really powerful tool, but you can ruin it if you do the wrong things with it. And so my ideas start to get bad, like ideas that might to a normal business person seem like really good ideas, they start to seem like bad ideas, and they are bad ideas to me because I understand the tools in my toolkit, and I understand that one of the tools in my toolkit, the people who support the ideas that I have, that like we work together to make these things happen, that tool goes away if I break it. I will never be able to do something with them again if I break that tool, if I break that trust. I think about that all the time. I'm obsessed with it. I'm terrified about it. It's like one of my main things that I lay awake at night thinking about. In reference to your question, more specifically, a good idea is very different from person to person because different people have different toolkits. I decide a business is a good idea when it's a slam dunk, when it's exciting, when it's going to do good things, when it's going to create way more value than it captures. Most of all, I think an idea is a good idea when I think that people who have invested in me also think it's a good idea. I'm not saying I'm never going to let you down, but I am saying that I'm going to try. I'm going to try really hard.
Look, I'm Team Wheels. You don't have to convince me. But hinges don't go around and around. They go like,
Hit it!
Look, I am sitting in the morning at the diner on the corner. I am waiting at the counter for the man who pours the coffee.
And he feels it only halfway, but before I even argue, he is looking out the window at somebody coming in.
There's a genre of TikTok that is just hot people apparently discovering that they're hot. You didn't know?
Beat that boy with a bat. Damn, sorry I blew you off. I was doing lunch with Microsoft. I'm sucking off a CEO.
I don't think I've ever...
Day 3.
...concentrated on something...
of trying.
...as much as I have on this game.
To break 30.
Bruh. But you mess up one time on here, it's over. Yo. Oh, fuck.
I know a lot of things, but I don't know about that.
What the fuck was that?
It was me, Michaela Van Buren.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Is that a fucking gremlin?
No, I'm a third grader.
With this sticker off. Was my apple spray painted?
Get a little bit of light on it. No, it wasn't. What happened is that certain chemicals change color. When it's too much light, it turns out. It's a lot. Can't handle it. It's quite warm, actually. And certain chemicals are exposed to oxygen. They change color. And one of those chemicals is in the apple skin. And some of that apple skin chemical wasn't exposed to oxygen because it had a sticker on it. Either that or they spray painted it. It's one of the two.
I'd like to leave.
Remember what I taught you, Quasimodo. You are deformed.
I am deformed.
And you are ugly.
And I am ugly.
And these are
I love how we're all convinced that TikTok has this like super genius algorithm and it's like the perfect computer and no one can overcome how amazing it is. But at the same time, it's been a year and the like third comment on this video is going to be a girl who's saying like, am I the hottest? Is it me?
In the Benz, we fucking all in the street.
All right, nobody asked for it, but I'm going to tell you about the problem with Twitter verification and how Elon Musk was right that a problem exists, wrong about what the problem is, and wrong about how to fix it until recently. Back in the early days of Twitter, there were a number of people who pretended to be people who were not themselves, famous people, and those famous people did not like that. In fact, they sued Twitter about it, and so Twitter created a system called verification, where you get a little blue check mark next to your name if they have verified that you are who you say you are, and they would only do this for people who were notable in some way or worked at certain institutions like governments or newspapers that they then would work with to make sure that they were identifying all the people who needed to be identified. This became a thing all over the internet. I am verified on TikTok. I'm verified on YouTube. I'm verified on Instagram. I don't know how any of that happened. I didn't do any of that. That just happened to me. But I do know people who felt like they needed a verification and then they went and they talked to somebody and they got one. Honestly, the day I got verified on TikTok was a bit of a bummer for me. I was like, they noticed me. When I was running VidCon, one of the biggest problems we had is that we had to give people access to certain areas of the conference or not, and that would come along with a different color badge. So if you worked at VidCon, you have a black badge. If you are a featured creator, like a person who we've invited to the event, you're gonna be backstage, you have a yellow badge. Other yellow badges for people who are like, they're +1s or for sponsors, advertisers, that kind of thing. But immediately, of course, it became a status symbol to have, which was not what it was intended for, and also not what it was necessarily good at. It meant you had access to the backstage. It did not mean that you were one of the biggest and most important creators that you should talk to as whoever you are, because sometimes we, had lots of smaller creators who just had particular perspectives that we wanted to share and have on stage. We're not getting all the smaller creators, we're getting some. We want a diversity of kinds of people at the event. But that didn't change that thing was the status symbol, and that's the same thing that happened to the blue check mark on Twitter. Problem is, there's lots of different things. Like there's, being a senator, there's being a journalist, there's being a celebrity, there's being a sports ball player. Like all this stuff's different. Elon comes in and says, let's give the blue check mark to anybody who can pay. We're verifying that at least they have a credit card. The problem is that the blue check mark already had a meaning, right? It meant that was verified. So somebody could make a fake Eli Lilly and say that insulin was free and it would be a bad thing for Eli Lilly. And also for Twitter. Good for everybody else, though. That was fun. The idea of distributing the blue check mark among everyone was to break the blue check mark's hold on people. And I think that maybe is the right thing to do, but the way to do that is to get rid of it entirely, not to give it to everyone, because it still has that hold even if it doesn't have the same meaning anymore. I don't think you can give it to everybody because it already means something, but I do think you can take it away from everybody.
Moving right along. When you try your best, but you
do succeed.
2 nickels, which isn't a lot, but it's weird that it happened twice, right?
Okay, it's Anthony, and I'm your father, and I'll make you ham. What the fuck, Anthony?
Coming out of my cage, and I've been doing just fine. It started out with a kiss, how did it end up like this?
We're gonna play the game, Do I Know Who Any of These People Are? Robert De Niro, that's George Clooney, and that's that guy from the Don't Be Suspicious TikTok sound. No, it's not. That was a guy from Stranger Things. Different. That's... frick, Emma something? Maybe? Is that Lady Gaga? I don't know. And I know her face, but I don't know who she is. Okay. I don't feel like I'm doing great. That guy, what's his name? He's the comedian. That's George Clooney and that's Robert Pattinson. What's his name? Oh, no. God, he's very famous. He's very famous. Wait, I had it for a second, but I lost it. That guy is Franco, one of the two Francos. That's Gwyneth Paltrow, and that is not a famous person. I've never seen his face before. Kevin Hart. Don't know. Dua Lipa. That guy. The kid from The Kid. He was a kid, and now he's grown up. Don't know. And Christopher Walken. I'm pretty aware of stuff, I think. That's that on the right there. That's the Australian famous man. In the middle, I don't know. And that's Rick Astley. You know what era I'm from. Rick Astley, the guy from That Show, and Dave Chappelle. I definitely don't know his name, the middle guy. The Rock, Madonna, and on the bench. I was sitting on the bench. That guy. I was over on the bench. The man who was on the bench, who was married to Olivia Munn, and that didn't go well. That's what I can tell you. Don't know. Oh, look, my son's jumping around. Don't know on the other guy on the other side. And that guy in the middle is National Treasure man Nicolas Cage, who I'm a big fan of much of his content. Really moonstruck. Matt Damon, don't know. And is that Squeezy Dibs? Look, I know what I know. That's Charlie Puth, Matt Damon, and... Oh, I think I do know who that is. But it's not coming to me. I think I can sing one.
You know it's not the same as it was. As it was. As it was. You know it's not the same. Go home, get a headlight.
Woke M&Ms have returned. The green M&M got her boots back, but apparently is now a lesbian, maybe. And there's also a plus-sized, obese purple M&M. So we're going to cover that, of course, because that's what we do.
All right, we're going to go again. What element is it? And can I tell you something interesting about it? It's radium. I could tell you so many interesting things about radium. Radium was discovered by Marie and Pierre Curie. It's a byproduct of the decay of uranium. So uranium is radioactive, and then it decays over time. And one of the things it decays into is radium. And radium also decays. It is also radioactive. Radium also glows, which is wild. So it's not like glow in the dark where you have to like shine light on it and then it'll like phosphoresce back that light. It actually emits radiation, and that radiation will then ionize the nitrogen in the atmosphere, and that will cause it to visibly glow when it's just in the dark. So if you are in the dark with some radium, you can actually see it glowing in the dark. Let's do another one just for fun. Einsteinium is one of the ones that we made up. It doesn't exist naturally, named obviously after Albert Einstein. This filter, except I don't know anything about musicals. So why would I do this to myself? There's a bright golden haze on the meadow. There's a bright golden haze on the meadow. And the I don't know what that is as high as an elephant's eye. And the rain is reaching right up to the sky. Oh, what a beautiful morning. Oh, what a... guy's only doing it for some doll. I'm just like from a different era, I guess. Yeah, well, not really, though, it turns out.
Hello. Yes.
I was wondering if you could play that song again. The one that goes beep boop boop bop, boop beep bop. Here's a way that I would really not like to go. This is Lake Nyos in Cameroon. It's a volcanic crater lake, and that volcanic activity releases carbon dioxide into the base of the lake, where it is cold and under a lot of pressure. Just like a Coca-Cola, as long as it remains under pressure, that carbon dioxide stays dissolved in the water. And it remains cold and it remains under pressure because there's not a lot of exchange between the different layers of the lake. But if there's an earthquake or a landslide or just too much CO2 dissolved, that system can get upset. And that is exactly what happened in 1986. The high CO2 water started to end up where it is warmer and under less pressure, and that created a churn that resulted in an explosion of a huge amount of carbon dioxide, which is heavier than air. A massive river of carbon dioxide flowed down the mountain, suffocating over 1,700 people.
Putting myself to bed. I want to stay up and have a little time to giggle.
Hello. What do I do? I what? Wait, sorry. What do I do?
They say that there aren't any good male role models anymore. What the fuck? I'm sitting right here. Just because I want to kiss a dude sometime.
I hopped into a coffee shop, and then my jaw dropped in shock when I saw a girl who had cool pants. They made me want to dance. I started to advance to tell her until I heard a little voice say, "Stop, you're gonna make it weird for everyone."
I will not be blackmailed by some ineffectual, privileged, effete, soft-penis debutante. You want to start a street fight with me, bring it on, but you're going to be surprised by how ugly it gets. You don't even know my real name. I'm the Lizard King.
Woke M&Ms have returned. What? The green M&M got her boots back, but apparently is now a lesbian, maybe. There's also a plus-sized, obese purple M&M. What? We'll also talk about that, of course, because that's what we do.
This robot is trying to replicate human emotions.
That robot should stop. Bald, mean, and full of beans. I got a Yamaha keyboard drum machine. Metallica patch on my dungaree. As I said, girl, can I get your number, please? It's it. That's it. That was the drafts for 2022. Everybody, thank you. And I would like, if you have the chance, if there's one stuck in your head, tell me what your favorite one was from the year in the comments. Thanks for watching a 40-minute video of TikTok drafts. There's got to be a better way.